It is March 2nd, I believe, a Sunday morning. River has a new tube of balls this morning. So shiny and clean. Monster Hunter Wilds came out. I think I was more nervous than I was excited. I was nerve-sighted for it to come out. I loved watching Josh's excitement for this game. It's been adorable. The game was more fun than I was ready for. For the most part, I was able to complete all the low rank stuff on my own. I did call in some backup hunters, but it's literally part of the game. Hunting in groups is part of the game. So still counts. I don't know, I surprised myself with my abilities as a gamer. I know I'm not great. I know that things that I found challenging, a lot of people found boring and easy. But that's why these levels of the game exist. They exist for people like me. Some of us need to be taken through baby steps, little mechanics being added at a time. Because it's all too much at once. And so I forgot how much I was looking forward to the low rank stages of the game. Yeah. And it's kind of cool, the different, like, to be playing it when it's so new and so popular. I played for a little while just in like a random lobby, and it was fun to watch other people run around the same campsites. And a couple people dropped in on a quest I was doing, which was helpful. I have to remind myself to do that more. I didn't use SOS in Worlds basically at all, because it felt like it was bothering people to help me, but something I want to do more of is I want to answer SOS calls. I want to make sure there are people to answer the calls. And God knows I could use the practice. That one ball must have gotten stuck under the deck in a weird way, because the dogs... She's dogging. Do you want to play fetch, dog? Can you bring me a ball? It's not about She's scaling under the deck, her little booty. It's not about what ball is available, it's about what ball you want. Because there's one just right there. Okay, I need to go figure out what's going on with this ball. Alright, we're in business. So I beat low rank, roll credits. Woo. Took me 2 days of responsibly also doing other things. I think I have like 12 hours or something like that. And that's mainly just doing the story. I did a couple of other things. Hopped in to kill a spider. And did 2 or 3 of the optional quests. Just ran out and found a monster and killed it. I mean, one is not simple to find a monster. Got really excited about the garden yesterday. Pulled out the tape measure. Got to see if I had a load of dirt or something like that. But I'm going to establish an herb garden up front. I think I'm going to put my herbs there, and I'm going to put lettuce there, because lettuce isn't going to want the full sun that it's going to get back here. So Josh took all the small limbs off of the fallen branches from the winter and the winds. So I'm going to use that as the outline of that garden. Just keep layering limbs as they fall, sticks, branches, natural fiber. And could lay those out today if I wanted to. That would be good. $1. Maybe when we need a break from Monster Hunter later in the day, come out here and lay out the logs. The limbs, the branches, the whatever. came into possession of a crow carcass last year, and I had cut the head off and buried it over under the wood pile. I learned my lesson from burying a rabbit in the woods. I don't remember where the rabbit is now, but there is a rabbit in a box somewhere buried in the woods. I could have sworn I took a picture of the box, like in the hole, but I guess not. And I don't want to just start digging. But I want to check on the crow skull, and I have a strong feeling that I accidentally buried my outdoor scissors that day, because cutting the head off the crow is the last thing I remember using them for, and then I haven't been able to find them. So I feel like they are either accidentally buried with the crow, or maybe they're under the wood pile somewhere. Either way, that's on my to-do list. I know I put boards down there so that when I was digging down, I would hit 2 pieces of wooden board before I would hit the skull, because I didn't want to see anything. I'm actually really excited for that. I should do that. See what time it's supposed to rain today. I'm excited for the garden. I'm supposed to be. I want to be excited for the garden. Tending to land makes me happy, and I'm excited to do so. And
where to go? You get it? You get it for me?
I pulled out Sam Baker's Clear and Simple Gardening Book for all gardeners. Explicit, detailed instructions for the finest lawns, gardens, with hundreds of helpful illustrations. So I had measured out the size of the bed in the back and the bed in the front, and or at least in rough guesstimations. I don't need to be super exact with this. It's not the end of the world. Anywho, and I was looking. My sister used to have a lawn, and they moved back into an apartment. And so she gave me this big bag full of seeds. So I have dozens of seeds. I have several options for each thing I could choose to plant. And there are a couple of things that I still would like to get. Like mint. so many herbs, no mint. I, pulled out all the herbs, was looking at them, and I kind of drew in a vague layout of herb garden. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I meant to. I meant to pull this out because I want to know what to do with peas, right? Because peas are going to need sticks. I would like to try peas. I have the seed for them, so So I wanted to know where to put them in the garden because I know that they're going to make shade with their sticks and their uprightness. So the first page I read on this says think small. So I said, Josh, if you had to pick 2 herbs, what would they be? And so I went back in and I crossed a bunch of stuff out. We both feel strongly about rosemary. That was the one that we had overlapping. I've already actually got chives up front, but we haven't eaten them up. They're just there for the flowers, really. I ate chives out of a garden as a child and got heartburn, and I've never been a huge fan of them since. God knows if I ate was actually a chive. Because it could have been like a wild one or something. Some sort of grass that looked like one. But I want to tear long strips of scrap fabric and tie them together so that they're like little flags where they get tied together. I want to see if I can use a couple of different types of fabric. There's something very heraldic about it to me. And that's what I would like to use as a border to the garden. Really, I just need something that the dog can see. And this will be a little less of a trip hazard than using twine. Because it'll be easier to spot. She's pretty good once you establish the boundary of the garden not going inside, or at least not charging headlong to catch a ball. Like when the garden was gardening, because now it doesn't matter if she runs in there and grabs the ball and stuff, but she'll stop and look at me and kind of wait for me to get the ball instead of getting it herself. Or I'll tell her careful, and she's careful. So our fence, a good chunk of it is held in place by the vines of ivy. There is a layer of ivy, a chain link fence, our old boards that were a wooden fence at one point, and a layer of ivy. And they're all kind of like sandwiching together. I mean, it's actually a very sturdy situation. But the ivy does need to be controlled but not taken away. So I removed the outermost layer of ivy, so now it's just those that are holding the boards in place, and you get to see both the weathered boards and the ivy. I think it's lovely. And I discovered a stone. I had never actually cleared out that corner all the way before. I did ivy removal on about half of the fence last year, and I found a birdhouse attached to the fence, buried amongst the ivy. And but I didn't actually go into the corner because I'm trying to be very good about is that a reasonable amount of work for right now? Yes or no? Because otherwise you just keep going on a project. But like yesterday, I removed that one layer, I uncovered a rock, I accomplished my main goal, which was to make it less critter friendly over there. There's more cleanup I can do, but I accomplished the main goal. I spent a couple hours. It was a reasonable amount of work to do in one day, so I stopped. Yeah, so I uncovered a stone. It's not carved like one, but it could be a gravestone. The shape, the size, just a slab. Who knows what it's from? But it's in the corner where the wood fence meets our chain link fence. I kind of want to paint something on it. Ooh. Maybe I'll paint the prayer of the woods on it, or use a paint pen. I like. That would be nice. Except I would kind of want it to go up. It's long and skinny, right? And so in theory you'd think to write across this way, but I don't think I'd like the way that those lines work, where if you paint it going this way, up the long way, the lines of the fence and the boards would continue up. So I think I might do that. Right, and just cursive lines going up. It's not necessarily about whether or not you can read it. help the bramble remember what it is. It still looks like trees back there, but they're gone.
A neighbor planted a tree though, so that's exciting.
Looks like some sort of cedar or something of that nature. And there's a pine. You can just see its little stick top. Bring trees back. The trees we have are important. The trees we have are important. And I miss those that are gone. I can still see the way it looked. It was beautiful. It is beautiful. Now that our chain link fence has a cedar fence on the other side of it, the shade is back. So when they first took down those trees and it was just our fence in the back, it was full sun all the time. It killed all the moss. It
Dog says throw ball, please.
It killed all the moss. Nearly killed the rhododendrons. And cleaning up dog poop yesterday. The moss is back. Because now it gets quite a bit of shade. There's a messy way to do this. This is Borkum Riff Bourbon Whiskey. The glow of discovery. And I'm excited. I'm just excited. I'm just excited for the garden. Yeah. Oh, need to go on matches. ideally out.
My lighter's inside.
I might leave this pipe for later. Uh-huh. Let's see, where was I? Oh, the moss is back. Project Floor's floor. Have some grass out front, but there's no need for grass. If something else and something better will grow. Hi, Burb. Bye, Burb. So what I have learned from my sketching and brief reading and resketching of the herb garden is that I should keep it simple. I have all of these varieties of things, but
You don't need that.
I don't actually have zucchini. I have several other types of squash, but I don't have zucchini. So I think mint and zucchini are the two seeds that I'm going to need to buy. God, I have everything from acorn squash to asparagus. I know I'm gonna do some sort of peas. I have peas, so I'm gonna do peas. Although in the future, I would probably rather do string beans. Or wax beans. And some sort of bigger tomato. Cucumbers. Peppers might be something that I do more. That I do grow more than one variety of. I really want to see if Grandpa seeds will grow. I know they're probably dead as fuck. I'll be right back. So, these both have a 16. written on them. So I'm assuming they're from 2016. How long do seeds survive? Probably Google that. But I've got hot peppers and big yellow Hungarian peppers. So we've got 2 beds on the far side. They're not in my original plan. But I might just do corn and pumpkins over there, one in each. Just let it do whatever, you know. Not put too much effort into it. But anyways, beans, tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, squash. I just found squash seeds. I don't know if those will be good, but in theory I've got squash seeds. And radishes. Basically grow things for a salad. And I'll put lettuce up front. And we'll probably end up with some more volunteer potatoes because we can't seem to get rid of them. Whoa! You okay? That was extra twisty. So let's see. Start with basic planning. You know the famous sign "Think" that hangs on the offices in giant business firms? I suggest you take that advice one step further. Think small as you plan your garden. Think small. If you're establishing a lawn and garden on a brand new property, or if you've just bought a home with from someone else, it's far better in your first years to do little than to too much. A revealing example is that of a friend who moved into a house near ours. The property had been neglected. In spite of my advice to renovate the property a little at a time, he wanted to accomplish everything during the first spring season without the assistance of professional gardeners. He dug up and replanted the entire lawn. And gardens on both sides of the house. Cut in many shrubs and trees. After months of back-breaking work every weekend, he became bone weary. Some of his planting failed from neglect simply because he had neither the time nor the energy to water, cultivate, feed, weed, and pay all the other attentions to lawn and gardens required. As a result, this man grew disgusted with gardening and almost ignored his property the following year. After that failure, taking my advice, he slowly proceeded step by step. Now he has a beautiful lawn and gardens. Sit back and take stock. Adapt yourself to the basic fact of gardening life, that neither Rome nor lawns nor gardens can be built in a day. Paraphrasing the poet Keats, some people say, a garden of beauty is a job forever. Of course, lawns and gardens require continuous attention. But if you plan properly, a few hours of gardening work a week are usually sufficient to grow rich grass, glorious plants that are the joy forever. And then we have a lovely illustration. You can protect your knees with rubber sponge knee guards if you wish. Use them for your household chores too. If your time is seriously limited, hire professional gardeners to take on the hard labor for a few hours a day, a week, depending on the size of your property. A few hours of outside help are usually sufficient. In the final analysis, whether you wish to think small or start big is up to you, as long as you're aware of the problems. One of the greatest rewards of gardening is that you're the boss. You can express your own personality. You do the planning, and you carry through as you desire. Proper planting makes a tremendous difference in your accomplishments. We were very fortunate that when we moved in here, the gardens are established. There's flowers that come at different times throughout the year. The garden beds, the flowers are here. But places where vegetables go are a little different. And so there's very little that I actually have to do for the gardens. I'm very thankful for that. We just have crocuses and hellebore and impatiens. They're just here. I'm excited for the forsythia. Alright. Make a diagram of your property. I already did this several times. Okay. One thing that too few gardeners do, but you'll find a great help in getting the results you want, is to make a diagram of your property. No, you don't have to be an artist. Ruled graph paper is helpful for keeping proportions accurate, but is not essential. Make a diagram of how your property is laid out now. Once you put the outlines on paper, you can see where additions should be made. Another flower garden here, another shrub there, a tree in that corner, for example. Consider the many handsome varieties of fencing now available to block an undesirable view, to increase your privacy, and to support climbing roses or decorative vines, flowery or leafy. To show you how, note this diagram of how one typical, well-organized property is shaped up. I've drawn it myself to prove that you don't have to be an artist. Good God, that was difficult reading. Okay, let's try it again. To show you how, note this diagram of how one typical, well-organized property is shaped up. I've drawn it myself to prove that you don't have to be an artist. Use common sense in planning. This property plan developed over a 10-year period.
The family enjoyed every addition and change. When the family first moved in, the place was a shameful, neglected shambles. Well, that's just rude to the house. With only a few trees, a ragged lawn that was more bare spots than grass. Neighbors said later they had thought that nothing could be done with the property, which has now become the showplace of the street. It's kind of rude to the house. Note these specific lessons to be learned from this property, which you can apply as it guides your own projects. The vegetable garden is placed in a sunny spot away from the house. Decorative flowers and roses occupy more prominent positions. I love a map. I love a map. After years of vain attempts to grow grass on a tree-shaded slope in the front lawn, a lovely ground cover was finally established and flourished beautifully. Tall shrubs at the right and a high hedge at the left provided attractive and effective screening from neighbors. A long oval flower garden in the right supplies glorious color in a narrow area that you might ordinarily have decided would be wasted. I want to look for this. Or given only to grass. This family loves dogwood and lilacs and plants some small groves of these exquisite flowering trees. You should follow your family's preference when applying your own common sense and good taste. Choose what appeals to you the most, first making sure it'll thrive in your area. Then plant the tree where the sun and shade needs to be. Don't forget to place it where it will not only enhance your property view from the outside, where you can enjoy the blooms and foliage from inside your house. In this case, a graceful dogwood trees and lilacs provide lovely, colorful color and greenery outside the dining room, kitchen, and upstairs back bedroom. Check on sun and shade. Before you plan or plant anything, familiarize yourself with the sun, the shade, conditions of each area. On following pages, you'll find suggestions of plant varieties that thrive in the shade. Although most plants require full or considerable sun to flourish, you're just kidding yourself if you believe a rose bush planted in the shade will give you armloads of big, beautiful roses. You'd better give up the thought of masses of brilliant flowers in areas enveloped in deep shade most of the day. You can grow certain shrubs there and plant satisfactory in such spots. You can get different kind of pleasure from the shade. For instance, this family planted a sizable flagstone patio where they hadn't been able to grow flowers satisfactorily. They found it a wonderful place to recline on chaise lounges in the shade on hot sunny afternoons. Plan and plant for the future. The picture below illustrates a vital point to keep in mind whenever you plant a shrub, a tree, or a landscape plant. The lesson is that when you plant a shrub or a tree today, look at it with a special gardener's eye view. That is, don't consider how tall the shrub is now, how tall it will be in a few years. Some close friends gave us a delightful gift for a wedding anniversary some time ago. When we went into the yard one Sunday morning, there was a graceful little Japanese maple planted near the garage. with a big tag hanging from the branch, "Happy Anniversary Forever." Low when planted, too high in 10 years. They had come over very early and planted the tree there as a living reminder of good wishes. The only trouble is they planted the tree without looking ahead. I didn't want to move it, though I knew we were in for trouble. Sure enough, within a couple years, the wide swinging garage doors slammed the branches every time they were opened. Finally, we had to move the tree to another area, and it never achieved its full potential again, in beauty or in growth. You can only trim many shrubs you can trim many shrubs to keep them the size you want, but if a plant is naturally tall growing, you spoil its greatest beauty and probably its health if you cut it back too far. Before you buy any landscape plant, check with the supplier to its potential size for your area. You can plan your landscaping accordingly.
We had a Japanese maple up front. There is a forsythia, a blueberry bush, and a Japanese maple. And the Japanese maple, I believe, was there before the blueberry bush. But they were in competition. And for us, the blueberry bush won. So we talked about moving the maple, but it was so close. Like the base of the two shrubs was so close, they're maybe 8 inches apart. There's no way that we'd get the maple out of there without harming the blueberry bush, and we would like to keep the blueberries. So the maple got cut down, which is a shame. But it is not meant to be. And you can't even see where it was. I don't know how long we're going to keep this going for. Do want to go back inside and play at some point. It's just so gosh darn nice outside. More diagrams. The drawings below show the difference that planting can have on the frontal beauty of your house. Tall-growing evergreen trees such as spruces, hemlocks, or pines were planted in front of the house. See what happens years later as the trees reach their natural height? They cut off light, air, and beauty from the house. Also, the arrangement of evergreens on each side of the doorway is too symmetrical to be attractive. This example is not unusual. Unfortunately, it happens all too often to beginning gardeners who plan ahead and intelligent. Below you see the correct way to landscape the front of your home and enhances the value and beauty greatly.
Place low-growing shrubs or evergreens under the windows, and these varieties of shapes and colors to make pleasing designs against the contours of your house. Here again, use your taste in choosing types of plantings. Whether you buy at a local nursery or by mail from reputable concerns, check specifications as to height, width, color, and location. Keep in mind that in each general type of shrub there can be multiple sizes and colors. Landscape planting guide. A medium to tall shrub are usually desirable at the corners of the house to soften the severe outline. Plant low-growing specimens below windows so that light gets let into rooms. Avoid planting tall-growing trees anywhere near the house. It's desirable to avoid having stiff, upright evergreens at either side of the entrance unless you enjoy an extreme formality. If you want privacy on your front porch, consider a loose, tall-growing, branching shrub such a plant that will keep passersby from seeing in, yet that will let light and air in. If your home faces a busy street, you can make the front lawn area usable by planting moderately tall shrubs a few feet back from the sidewalk instead of right near to the house. This will make an outdoor living room for your area, which otherwise would be wasted. We have one of those. Do we have an outdoor living room? Fuck yeah, we do. By all means, avoid planting a straight row of the same type of plants at the same height, same color, and front. Where's the rest of the sentence? Around the house. It unfortunately creates a dull, severe appearance. I we have azaleas lining. They're not the happiest. I'm working on it. But lining the whole front fence. And the pairing of the two I think is quite nice. Ta-da. Quite nice. So. And then some beautiful black and white photos. Let's look into this book a little more. Low-price Putnam book has been completely reset in a typeface designed for easy reading and was printed from new plates. It contains the complete text of the original hardcover edition. Not one word has been omitted. Printing history. Grosset Dunlap edition, published February 1964. Second printing, November 1964. Putnam Gardening Guide edition, published March 1966. Some new drawings by Natalie Baker. Published simultaneously in the United States and Canada. Printed in the United States of America. Alright. What were we listing? Landscape planting guides. 8. Where windows are far apart, a beautiful vine or ivy will often beautify the house. Although you should avoid a monotonous repetition of the same type of plant, it's usually effective to have a few of the same types of shrub in the foundation planting. This adds grace and harmony to your property. If you want to break the rules, usually set down for landscaping, go ahead. It's your place. Indulge yourself. You can always make changes later if things go wrong. The lessons you've learned will be worth the extra time, effort, and money. Most gardening problems, such as an evil dragon crabgrass, you can... Sorry. Most gardening problems, such as an evil crabgrass dragon, can be conquered with modern aids. You'll enjoy the thrill of victory as you win a beautiful lawn. There is a crabgrass dragon. Plan, then go ahead. Once you have drawn the diagram of your property, you'll know how much or how little you want to do, how much foundation planning you can handle, how many flower gardens you'll have, and whether or not you wish to grow vegetables. Eventually, you may wish to create raised garden beds, which will enable you to cultivate flowering beauties of various levels. You'll plant these in a manner of terrace boxes described later. Another delightful addition to the beauty of your property is to plant some of your favorite species in large movable planters, boxes on wheels. And thus you can move the beauty and the color from your yard to terrace to porch to wherever you wish in a favorable growing location. The plant is with window boxes instructed later. I do have a big pot that I have yet to grow something in. I have a couple of big pots that I wish to do something with. It's worth repeating the same advice. Think small and start small. But most important, start. If you begin with small flower garden, you'll learn a great deal that you can apply next year. That's one sure thing about gardening. You'll learn and benefit enormously by trying and doing. Nature lets you correct your mistakes quite readily. When certain plantings fail, remember next year that you'll know better to plant something that will flourish. Don't let anyone convince you that you must be experienced or you won't get results. You may not get the best results, but you will certainly grow something that will do it. Lighten the garden outdoors extends the beauty of your gardens and landscaping right up to bedtime. Check with dealers about gardening and lighting fixtures and ask for advice about applications to your property. Select from many of your decorative outdoor lighting fixtures. Ha 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 ha. Oh, there are more. There are more drawings. These are the kind of drawings I can do. There are many delightful landscaping touches that you may wish to add eventually, such as a small water lily pool, easily installed in a few feet of space. Such creative touches can come later, but have many exciting years ahead of you. In later chapters, you'll get more details on specific varieties of shrubs, flowers, and other plantings. Above all, do get started and proceed with botanism. As one witty gardener commented, to start a garden with your best foot forward, just put it on the edge of the spade. Okay, I probably can skip chapter 3, which is gardening on the large place if your home and grounds cover acres of land. I think we'll skip. It's a short chapter anyways. Tools, budget, work plan.